Blessed, happy, fortunate, to be envied is the man who listens to me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the posts of my doors, the Amplified Bible. Happy is the man who is so anxious to be with me that he watches for me daily at my gates, or waits for me outside my home. For whoever finds me finds life and wins approval from the Lord, the Living Bible. Once when I was single, I lived in a flat in the bush-clad Waitakere Ranges above Auckland in New Zealand. I had 2 cats and the landlady's Alsatian Labrador as my only companions. They adored me and were always waiting for me at the gate when I got home after work. I rode a Honda motorcycle at the time, which had a distinct sound, and they could pick it up as I rode towards the house through the bush from some miles away. They were always waiting for me when I arrived home and were so excited to see me. The dog will run around in circles crying, and the cats dashed onto the road. It was really cute to see. God says blessed and to be envied and highly favoured is the person who is keen, excited and anxious to greet the Lord, watching and waiting for him daily at his doors. We may not be outside every day running around in circles and crying, but we desperately need to have a passion for Jesus. The question is, do we long for him every day? Something that really concerns me in these last days is not my bank balance, my health, the dangers of catching COVID or suicide bombers, but of losing my passion for Jesus. There have been times in my life when I was not anxious to spend time with him anymore, and I lost my sense of expectation and desperateness for him. I was no longer watching and waiting for him every day. It's sad to think that you would rather be doing anything else but being in the presence of God, soaking up his word. The Bible warns us that in the last days the love of many will grow cold. That's not just for people, but for God as well. Because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold, but he who stands firm to the end will be saved. These are perilous times in which we live, not so much for the dangers of disease, war, tsunamis or earthquakes, but the danger of losing our passion for Jesus in the midst of the busyness and the cares of this life. We may have been red hot for Jesus when we first got saved, but what about now? Remember that it's not how you started the race that counts, but how you end it that matters. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. We may have our Christmases taken away from us, with all its pretty lights, or even Good Friday, which would be a shame, but the real concern is our losing our passion for Jesus. You may not have much money, but having a passion for Jesus is a wealth far greater than any earthly treasure of silver and gold. When you have a passion for Jesus, you are indeed rich beyond the wealth of Bill Gates or Elon Musk, the richest men in the world. Nevertheless, I have this against you, that you have left your first love. The trouble is, we can start red hot for Jesus, but eventually cool off. The Ephesus church used to be on fire, but left their first love. They were patient, hard-working, hated evil, and could spot a false prophet easily. But Jesus said they had one thing missing. They had lost their love for Jesus. There are a lot of Christians who are very passionate about many things, from end times, moral issues, the poor, injustice, and politics, but their love for Jesus is missing. You can spend hours involved in these Christian things, but hardly spend any time with him. And he cares. Jesus can just end up being an optional extra. We need to guard our hearts with all diligence in these turbulent days. The secret is to keep our eyes single, focused on him as much as we can. When our eye is single, our whole body will be full of light. The lamp of the body is in the eye. If therefore your eye is good, your whole body will be full of light. It's very much like a magnifying glass. You have to keep it at the right position for an extended period of time so that fire can break out. It's like this in our relationship with Jesus as well. If we flutter around from one thing to another, then we don't catch a light for Jesus. I was reading the other day that the way to kill a man's dream is to give him another one. We lose our focus and passion for Jesus when we have our eyes on too many things, and the devil knows this. Remember how much the Lord wants us to guard our passion for him as much we would our own personal treasure.